Hey guys, Simon here, and we are going to do an architecture tour of Batman Arkham Asylum. This is Arkham Asylum, not Arkham City, so it's the old game. Let's see this one. That's better. The audio levels are balanced. So I've played through this game, the whole thing already, so you can see the riddles and challenge and upgrades and character bio, so most of that is maxed out. I finished the story. I started off doing a proper playthrough, a commentary with the playthrough, but it didn't. I don't really think this game's that good for that. Like, there's a lot of chatter, there's a lot of backtracking, and it's just not a smooth game for you to talk over, in my experience. And also my computer's not very good. You might notice the lag a bit sometimes here, so hopefully that's not too bad. It's a lot worse in the combat, like when I record in the combat it's not very good. Anyway, let's not worry about that too much. So here we are, we're Batman, we have giant pectoral muscles, man boobs. So in Arkham Asylum, this is the asylum, we have a map. So we have the Arkham Mansion, Botanical Gardens, Intensive Treatment, Penitentiary, yeah, the prison, basically, and the medical facility. So the layout of the island is, I guess, low security and high... wait, no, sorry. This is, I guess, low security. This is maximum security, and this is high security, I guess. So the prisoners are all here. This is the administration, Botanical Gardens, and then this is, well, the crazy people. And there's a lot of crazy people in Batman. Let's go back this way, because the game starts over here in the intensive treatment is what they call it. So the architecture in this game is, like, the artwork is quite good, I think. Or the gameplay, I'm not going to talk about the gameplay too much, but I guess at the start I'll tell you I quite enjoyed the gameplay, although there weren't any real moments of, like, awesomeness. I don't know how else to describe it, but you know, some games you play, like, you get into a major set piece and you just kind of sit back and think to yourself, whoa, I can't believe this is happening. You know, some games do that, and this game didn't really, well, it did. In the oh, we can't go in there. In the Scarecrow levels, it did that, but other than that, there wasn't too much of it. And the Scarecrow levels are very good. Unfortunately, we can't visit those because you only play through them once in the game and you can't go back into them. So if you wanna experience the best parts of the game, I'm afraid you're gonna have to play it for yourself, or maybe find a proper playthrough on YouTube somewhere, because I can't do it because of my computer is not very good and all that. So let's see, we need to get into this place first. Nope, that's the wrong way. I can't remember how to get through here. I mean, this is meant to be a puzzle, and I'm already quite puzzled. Obviously it's completely ridiculous as an actual space, but it's meant to be a puzzle for you to navigate. Here we go. So, like, there's no doors or anything like that, which is strange. But never mind, we're crawling through ducts and all that, and it's loading a new area. I wonder if this is gonna be a problem because I'm recording. Okay. This is also not important. I'm just trying to find my way back to the start of the game. Maybe I should have done this before I started recording. But yeah, there's a lot of backtracking in this game, especially if you want to pick up all the secrets, which I did. And I think that's, you know, not the most interesting thing to do in the playthrough. This is still not the first part of the game. Well, I guess we can start talking about some of the issues here. So Arkham Asylum supposedly is quite an old facility, but it's been in continuous use for some time, and so you know it's been continuously renovated, I guess. So there's new stuff along with the old stuff. You know, so this high security stuff. It's kind of new. And then there's the old, well, in some parts there'll be old brick, and then there's concrete and all that. I'm not sure if they actually thought too much about all the history and all that, but at some level that's the theme of the place. And you know, being a Batman game, and you see how serious Batman is, look at him, serious face. So it's a serious interpretation of the Batman franchise, and I don't know if I should talk too much about the history of it, but obviously some Batman movies have been less serious than others. Recently it's been very serious and very dark, which I like better. But this is a serious interpretation of the franchise. Let's see, secure transit. Let me... Well, we can... That's odd. Well, I guess we can talk about the corridors and rooms now. Well, as you can see, there's a lot of corridors, and then there's a few rooms. I mean, this is meant to be intensive treatment, and you might notice there's not a lot of facilities for treating anything. It's more like a prison than anything else. The architecture in this game is mostly designed around the gameplay, and then hence the corridors and rooms and everything else. Like, it's meant for you to run through, kill bad guys, and it's not really meant to be a proper building. And so there's bits and pieces of architecture, definitely, but you know, they don't actually come together to form a real building as you would expect in real life. I mean, which is fine, I mean, it's a game, but at the same time sometimes it becomes quite confusing because of that, because you know, you're often used to the layout of buildings, like, you know, you have circulation, you have corridors, you have rooms and offices or whatever building you're in, basements, attics and all that. And you know, in the real world you are used to certain arrangements of spaces, and when a game kind of completely ignores that and does something completely different, then you get lost quite easily. I mean, transfer loop. At the start of the game you kind of accompany Joker through the facility, and you get a lot of talking and a lot of story. But you know, a prison, you know, in the real world buildings make sense, like the layout of buildings makes sense, and so you expect them to be arranged in a certain way, and when the games don't do that, then you're left with, you know, you're left to your own devices, and you don't really know what to expect anymore. So you come in down the elevator into more corridors, and then holding cells, and there are some cells here, as you can see, but there's only 4 of them, so you only hold 4 people. And then some offices and a really high-tech security device, and then more corridors, a processing like they even call it a corridor. I don't know why you call it a processing corridor. You don't actually process. How would you process anything? Emergency shutdown. I guess all these doors are closed because of the emergency shutdown. And so yeah, I mean, the corridors, and they don't seem to serve any purpose except for you to run through as a part of the game. And this is how almost all of the levels, or all of the areas in this game, are laid out. And that pretty much sums up the game, I mean, I'm still gonna walk through all of the places. And you have to check the maps a lot because you know, you just kind of go around in circles and you're not sure where you're going or why you're going there, or you know what the spaces are supposed to be, because of this misalignment with, you know, real life architecture and the inability for the player to recognize any of these spaces. So, you know, what is this? Why is it arranged this way? And then in the middle of the whole level there's an electric chair, which is, I mean, it fits the theme of the game and all that, but and it's all very theatrical, right? You see how the chair is here, piece of glass, and the entrance is there, and so when you walk in the entrance you see what's going on with the electric chair and all that. So it's all about theatrics. Like, look at that. You know, they set it up so that you see that when you walk in. Which again, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It certainly has pros and cons. And given that Batman is a fictional character, obviously, I mean, he doesn't actually exist, this guy. And there's a lot of movies and TV shows and all sorts of things. And even comic books. I mean, comic books are largely a visual medium, and so theatrics is relevant to comic books as well, even though it's not, you know, moving images. You nevertheless set up particular views and scenes and all that. What's this? Is decontamination. Decontamination. Apparently you take showers here. I mean, there's all sorts of props in these rooms, but the rooms themselves are very similar. I mean, you know, there's concrete and ducts and pipes and everything else. And obviously you can climb around and all that. Huh. Oh yeah, you can't come up here. Never mind. So yeah, there's a lot of props. But I wouldn't say that there's any real architecture. Mostly, I guess it's... I mean, I call it a stage set, in a way. I wouldn't... You know, it's not a real building. Let's see, we're trying to get back out. This is not the way out, but maybe we can see what's here. And I can't remember what this room is. Secure treatment transfer. Oh, this place. This is a dead end, I remember now. So at the beginning sequence you end up here, and then the real game begins here, and then you have to fight your way back out. I remember now. So you start at almost at the front door, and then the whole beginning sequence is just you walking your way in, which is very slow, to be honest, like the starting sequence. You walk all the way in, and then it turns out to be a trap, and then you have to walk your way back out, or fight your way back out. Which is, you know, in itself a fairly clever device, because they show you the spaces before you actually have to play through it. So they show you the way in, and then they ask you to find your way back out. And you can see on the floor as well, this directioning. You see how these arrows, I mean, presumably they're meant for the prisoners, but what happens is when you play through the game, you walk in this way, and actually it's very subtle. The arrows will point you in the right direction. I think this is where we're meant to go. No, actually this is the wrong way. We're meant to go back this way. And there's the lag. Hold on, let me restart the recording. Nope, that does not help. Okay, that's better. Alright, let's keep going. So yeah, so I was saying you walk your way in and then you fight your way out. So the first part of the game, obviously, the first part of any game is usually the tutorial. And so it eases you in by showing you where you're meant to go before throwing you into the deep end, as it were. And this part, it teaches you how to climb as well. And you can see the arrows here as well. Like there's arrows pointing you where to go. So yep, this is the tutorial area for climbing, and as you play through the first time, it'll teach you how to do things and where to go. Remember earlier in the recording we jumped down the elevator shaft? This is it. So the elevator shafts are here, so now we're climbing back out. And I guess I'll go back to the entrance, and then I'll end the video there and then start on the next bit. So, you know, these elevators, they don't actually go anywhere except to the bottom. Like there's no stops, there's no other floors. Which, I mean, it happens in a lot of games. I don't know if I should repeat. Well, I guess, I mean, some of you might, you know, if you're watching my videos for the first time, then I guess I should explain. You know, games are mostly linear things. Sometimes they're not, sometimes they're open world games, but a lot of games, they tell a particular story, and with all stories, like a book, you read a book from start to finish, a movie, you watch a movie from start to finish, and many games are also arranged that way, like you play the game from start to finish in a fairly linear fashion, and even if there's opportunities for you to choose your own path, they're usually limited to what the game designer intended for you to do. And so I forgot where I was going with this. But anyway, the architecture reflects this linearity in most games. Oh, the elevators, that's right. And so, you know, elevators usually, in games, they usually only go to two particular floors. Or if they stop at any intermediate floors, they don't actually lead to anywhere. Like there may be a room halfway, and then you fight some guys, and then you just go back in the elevator and keep going. Whereas in the real world, elevators are highly non-linear. Like you can stop at any single floor and go anywhere you want. So I guess that's an example of how architecture in games contrast with architecture in the real world. This is supposedly the front door, but it's locked because it's a dead end, as you can see. And that's also part of the game. Like you're supposedly trapped in here and you have to find your way out. And yep, we climb our way back out, like the ducks and everything. It all suits the gameplay. It doesn't make too much sense why these corridors are here, or why the ducks are arranged in these ways. But you know, never mind, it's a game. Although, you know, if you've watched my Half-Life series, my Architecture of Half-Life 2 series, then, you know, I really respect the way Valve did that, in the sense that a lot of the times they took relatively realistic buildings and then, you know, they close some doors and then they put some holes in the walls and the floors, and then they barricade some spaces, and by doing that they change it so that it becomes a linear experience. Whereas, you know, in this game, well, we can't see it anymore, but in this game, as you saw earlier, like the spaces were completely unrealistic to start with. Like the corridors kind of don't lead anywhere except for the story. And no, this is locked. So you know, from the start, the spaces in this game are arranged for the purposes of the game only. Whereas in some other games they would take buildings that are more or less realistic and then rearrange them or change bits and pieces of them to make them fit the game. And I think I respect that other approach a bit more, because it ends up with more believable architecture. Where should we go next? I can't even remember in the game where we go next. But I'll go to the medical facility next, in the next video. And I guess I'll see you there.